Dead Space remake. The first one was really cool, and I appreciate it. I watched like interviews with the creator, Glenn Schofield, and he would talk about how he enjoyed painting to like clear his mind and give him ideas and stuff like that. And he was just this cool guy. He's more like a rock star kind of than one of these like nerdy type of guys you think of in the video game industry. Not to like, trust me, I play games as much as anybody. I'm not making fun of gamers by any means, but especially because that's sort of people who create games are sort of in that older generation, so you had to be even more nerdy back then to like games, which, hey, I respect. I'm just saying, I'm just painting a picture here. And Glenn Schofield was painting pictures. That's what I'm talking about. But he's more of like a rock star type mentality. Like I remember he's got like a gruff voice and he's just like fucking cool or whatever. But I did question, is this just like a one-hit wonder? Because it's not that crazy of an idea, right? It's kind of just like Alien in space or whatever. So Dead Space was always like you could shoot the limbs off of the enemy. Your first gun is like the plasma cutter, because your character Isaac Clarke, he's like an engineer for this ship, right? And so all his weapons are a take on like engineering tools and stuff like that. So you could use that shit to cut these aliens fucking limbs off, make them crawl along the floor, or cut their arms off so they can't fucking cut your head off anymore. You can use an alternate fire to turn the reticule from like horizontal to vertical to see how you wanted to make that slice. And every weapon has a secondary fire mechanic, which is kind of cool because a lot of games either don't explore that or it's not as integral to the gameplay as this shit is. I think Remake, it did a very good job. It's very atmospheric. The design of the Ishimura is really cool and really like fucking retro and dirty and dark, and kind of the design mentality behind Alien, the original Alien. For the most part, I wasn't really all that interested in the storyline, but the atmosphere was there. The gameplay's fun, the design's cool, like going around the ship. I think Remake added a lot of side quests and stuff that I don't really remember being there. That gives you a reason to explore certain parts of the ship, or even to backtrack somewhat, just to get those upgrades, get those extra loot crates and stuff like that. It just gives you a reason to explore more. And I liked all of that. It has this cool mechanic. He can like aim his hand down and this like GPS path will fucking project onto the map, like onto the actual floor. And you can cycle through like side objectives, main objectives. And I think in Dead Space 2, I don't think in this one, you can cycle like where's the closest shop, where's the closest save point, and you could just follow it, which is cool. Because the map is kind of confusing. Maps are always kind of difficult. To give a callback to Resident Evil, real quick, particularly Resident Evil 2 Remake, the map. I want to talk about this. The map is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. All right, first of all, it's drawn in a way that you can understand. Like a game like Jedi Fallen Order had this notoriously cryptic fucking map. It was not helpful at all. It was all 3D and layered on top of each other and shit. Like, this is a good map. The background color will be red if there's still something you haven't unlocked in this room, and it will be blue if you found everything, and you can switch that part of your brain off and just move on. Like, my brain is already worried enough with getting attacked and shit like that to worry about being lost. Dead Space Remake, it was fun. And I think it was necessary, because to go back and play the original now would probably be disappointing. And so I support it. But me personally, I played 3 survival horror games last year, and Dead Space Remake was the third. I would put Alan Wake 2 at number 1, and I would put Resident Evil 4 Remake at number 2. Resident Evil has more of a personality, whereas Dead Space, the whole personality is just like dread and fucking down, 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 down. Resident Evil 4 has parts where it's like cheesy and cool, or parts where it's like silly and fun. And then it's also scary. And so Resident Evil has more of a personality. Dead Space Remake, like I said, glad it exists. More game companies should treat their old games this way. There's companies that will license themselves out to remake your game. First of all, the audience is built in, and all that, like I said before, all the design was already done. So all someone has to just do the work of making it. You don't have to write a new game or think of a new game or whatever. And technology is just interesting, because I can go back and read an old book, and there's no barrier there of how I experience it with the passage of time. In fact, A lot of old books I prefer. And movies to a lesser degree. There's like a better half-life for movies where you can still watch something from like 10, 12 years ago. From that whole period, probably looks pretty good. And then when you get into like the 90s and shit, you're like, all right, it's pretty dated. But games, sometimes, I mean, it's been better. Since PS4, it's been better. But sometimes it's hard to go back, you know, to a 360 degree, or God forbid, even before that. You know what I mean? So these games need to be saved, man. Redeem these fucking games. So I'll always support remakes. And if you never played it, you've been interested about it, this is the time to get in on it. And the cool thing about remakes is it often signals that a new entry in the series is coming, because it tries to like onboard people onto the series and get that hype train moving. And then it seems to be like the next year or whatever, you find out, oh, Dead Space 4 is coming out. That's just a prediction, but we'll see.